Welcome to Key Conversations, where you get to connect with the best of the music business, unlocking the secrets to exploding your music career, presented by In the Key of Success. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. The conversations you're about to hear are between our special guest and participants of my MX4 course, the Marketing and Branding, Money-Making, Mentorship Mastermind for Musicians. They are singers, songwriters, composers, producers, and artists just like you, asking their burning questions of our experts while transforming their careers over 6 weeks. If you think this could be you, check out mx4course.com to schedule a free half-hour coaching call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. So, let's get started. We are back with composer and songwriter Darren Solomon. We are going to pick it up where we left off last week.
Chrysanthe, you had another question?
Okay, I'll do another one. Did you have any trouble with people classifying you, like pigeonholing you as a performer? Like, I get how you transition into the doing of more composition, but what about from other people's perspective of you? Does that make sense? Like, I know I'm always going to get called. I'm a violinist composer, and I know that I'm always going to get calls as a violinist first and foremost. And for me, the way people regard me as a composer will always seems like it's an afterthought, and I don't know how to shift that. I mean, the more, because I keep performing, it's not like I've stopped doing that. So every time I do that, I don't know, that's just where the jobs are for me, and I don't know how to shift out of that.
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. As a matter of fact, I have the other way, the opposite way now. So,
okay.
That I'm working. People find it hard to see me as a bass player now because my work is very visible on TV commercials. And so, he's the composer guy. And I'm like, I still, like, if you want a G at the bottom of a G7 chord, I can do that for you. I can hit that note, and I'll do a pretty good job. But people are like, oh, no, you're the guy, you did the, commercial for the Tina Fey shampoo, So it tends to be like whatever you do that gets the most buzz or the most conversation is what people think you do. And I think this is in every kind of commercial art form, whether you're an actor. I've heard those people in interviews talk about the same thing, or, someone that does a few different things. It's sort of, we get put in that little box of whatever the thing that we do mostly. And I think the way out of it is to do the thing that you want to be doing, possibly at the expense of things like income and comfort, So if I want to tell people I'm a bass player, I need to be out there playing bass. And so typically if someone calls me to play bass, my threshold right now is pretty low. Like, I'm not going to really be like, does it pay a lot of money? I'm sort of like, can I please come and I'll bring my bass and I'll be there early, like kind of anyway. Whereas if they did something like that with advertising me, I'm like, how much should it pay? Like, it's sort of like I have that bit of thing when it comes to the thing that I do most of the time. But so yeah, try to do the thing you want to be doing in whatever way you can do it, and point to it, and put it up on whatever your social media is, get it out there so people just go, oh, they're that person that does that. And it's, as much as I have a very uneasy relationship with Facebook, it's amazing how if I put like 4 bass playing gigs in a row up on Facebook that I'm doing, then I get more of them. Like, people just see that and like, oh, Darren's playing bass again. Oh, I need a bass player. It's Darren. It works out well. So I just kind of put whatever those things are up on whatever social media I feel like rocking at the time. And so, yeah, I guess that there's a thing that happens in art and business where we're used to bullshitters. Unfortunately, we all are, and I can't think how many times I've just been like at a party and someone says, I'm a screenwriter. You go, oh, cool, that's awesome. Like, what sort of genres do you work in? And they'll say, well, I haven't really written, but like I really like science fiction and, whatever. I don't want to be like, negative about anyone. We're all trying to figure out our way, but at some point you need to really have done the thing that we say we do. And so the more you can say, here's a movie I did, here's a thing I did, here's a whatever, then people go, oh, you're the person that does the movie. I'm curious, what's your experience in terms of that? Have you found, do you have a body of work and you're still finding a bit of a frustration in terms of getting past that, or are you looking more, hoping to get the opportunities to do the work that you want to be doing?
No, I have a body of work. It's not as big as I'd like it to be yet, but I have trouble like getting it out there, or even like I have an album. I do, I have some like indie film stuff and random, really like experimental, strange, and like concert works and stuff like that, like quartets and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you have the work, and it's just not, one of them hasn't done the thing that you want it to do, maybe in terms of like getting past that threshold of, a certain number of views or a certain amount of coverage or a certain amount of buzz.
Yeah, I think people mostly see me as like at this point like a pop touring violinist.
Yeah, yeah. Which most people would, of course, kill to do. But right.
Yes, yes.
But
and it's great, but
right, yeah, nothing wrong with it. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I see it as put out more of the stuff. And I mean, a weird story is like I learned a lot from Barry Manilow, more than I would think. So one of the things I remember he told me is that Copacabana, which is often sort of, it's a very goofy song, it's a novelty song, and when people sing it, they kind of like sing it in a jokey way or whatever. But he told me it was his biggest hit ever, and he said it was done as a complete lark after they made a record that they thought, oh, this is one of our really great records, and they're like, oh man, this is this dopey, goofy tune, but what the heck, let's put it on there, and that's the one that just killed, that just basically made a lot of his career. And then for me, in B flat was kind of like that. Like I had a bunch of other things going on, and that one, for whatever reason, just connected. So I hope that In You is one of those projects, and that as you keep doing these things, something connects. And it may not, it may be about a collaborator, like a choreographer that you work with, and you somehow make something bigger than both of you guys, or a great filmmaker or a great mobile game maker. It may not be just you in your room writing. It may be something that pushes it to that next level, whatever that is. But I think doing a lot of it really increases your chances, and it takes the pressure off of like, this one is the one. It just makes it more like, sometimes you hear something like another one might be Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap. Like, I get the feeling that didn't take her that long to make. Like, it's that, I know the box that she used for that, and it's an automatic harmonizer on it, and she's super talented, and I'm a fan, so in no way does it take a single thing away from how great that piece is. But it just, I think, was just one more thing and it happened to connect. So you're more likely to do that when you make the art, and rather than hone and fine tune your one thing, maybe it's better when you kind of try different things and see how much you can get out there without killing your vibe, making art you don't make.
That's awesome.
I hope that's helpful.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm starting to really hear two huge themes here, Darren. One is to not be attached to a specific outcome and just make cool stuff. Like those are the two things. When you let go of any expectations, that's actually when the good stuff shows up.
I think so. I mean,
yeah.
Of course, there's the thing of like, also you let go of expectations and nothing good will happen for a year, and you have to get through that too, right?
Right.
Like, I definitely don't think there's not like a magic. We all want that magic person to be kind of looking over us and be like, oh, you've now given yourself up to whatever power there is, and then sometimes the universe will go, I don't care. And then you just have to get through that too, and just keep going. It's there doesn't seem to be a causal relationship, as much as I'd wish, between completely letting go, but there is that thing of just getting to a mindset of making cool stuff, and what you think is cool probably a lot of other people think is cool too, and how do you connect to them? I mean, for me, one of the things that in B flat helped get, there was a blog post on a blog called Geek Dad that is not really the niche market for my thing, but that's really the one little thing that got 20 people to see it, that got then more blogs and blogs and blogs. So, that one weird door that you never think is going to make anything happen sort of happens. And there's no way it's going to happen unless you get enough stuff out that's cool, that hopefully something connects eventually. The one thing that you made me think about is that talking about sort of the different techniques and different inspiration, different music. I teach at SUNY Purchase. I run master classes there. And one of the things I've noticed is that a lot of my students don't know what's going to get them excited. I had to learn this. Like, I'll say, like, do you guys want to learn how to like slice up audio? Not really. Do you guys want to learn how to like overcompress drums so it sounds super badass? Not really. Okay, we'd rather learn about how to write lyrics over a bridge. Okay, let's do that. So I would do that, and that's fine. But then every once in a while, for some reason, I'd have a project, and hey guys, let me show you this project. This would be like right after they've told me they're not into this whatever thing, and I say, here, I chopped up this audio and sliced it, and they're like, wait, holy shit, you can do that? Wait, if I do that with this song that I'm working on right now, that's gonna be amazing. And so I'm so happy. Those are my favorite moments as a teacher when you just go, oh, this thing that they didn't know they wanted and I didn't know they wanted, flicked something in their brain, and they come back next week with an amazing piece of music based off of that, and maybe even like a direction, you know. I mean, I've been writing, if you go look at it in B flat, basically the concept behind it is like asynchronous, ambient, melodic, beautiful audio. And I've been fishing in that pond ever since. I've been I'm doing a performance here on January 7th in a space called National Sawdust, and that's going to be a whole live performance based on that. So it's something that if you can introduce this one concept, or learn it, I should say, or it excites you, you can get a career out of it. You can get a whole passion. And we don't know that. We don't know it's out there until, for these kids, it was them sitting there while I happened to show a session I was working on. For us, it might be going to a concert or talking to a friend who uses a piece of software we use and going, oh man, I didn't know that could be done. And it just changes everything. So I would say that any way we can all put ourselves open to those things, you know, we don't know that it could be a dopey plugin, just one Waves plugin that could do it for us, or one technique or one DAW that we don't use. If you use Logic, you'd be able to something that we don't know. And that can really give you years of inspiration once you realize this you know, it turns out that's your thing. Just like, you know, I mean, if you listen to like Steve Reich, you know, or Philip Glass, you kind of go, oh, they found their thing and they've been doing that for a long time, and it doesn't suck. I mean, great to find your thing, and they explore around it, but you're not going to hear Steve Reich is never going to sound like Mahler. It's just, and his thing is quite narrow, really, and he's able to find a great depth within that. So maybe something can trigger that in us and help inspire us. And so be open to that, not just asking what you need, but finding places that you might not even know that you need this or would be inspired by that.
This is a great conversation, Darren. I appreciate it. I want to take like 5 more minutes and do like a laser round of questions with you. I know that there are people listening that are waiting to hear about, and you're so artistic and you're so humble, but I want to hear some of the commercial insides of the brain of someone who is a super successful commercial writer. And you know the formula, but you also bring in the stuff that ends up winning and getting on air always has a bit of Darren in it. And it's never just the formula that anyone could do. It's always really original. So my first laser question are, what are the top 5 best known commercials that you've done that people would know?
Okay, I'm probably going to wish I had revised this because I've never listed that, or thought about it in those terms. But I guess off the top of my head, certainly Campbell's Tomato Soup Possibilities ran for a long time, ran for about 4 years. And that was an old school jingle. Google it. Don't ask me to sing it because I'm a terrible singer.
I sang on that for you.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Possibilities.
Thank you. Okay. And then it was a lot of fun. Had a great experience doing this M&M's commercial with Megan Mullally from Will and Grace. And we wrote a little musical thing about M&M's. It was just goofy and fun, and won a Clio Award for that, which was nice. Oh man, now I know I've been doing this for like 19 years now, so I have last time I counted it was over 400 commercials. So
what's on the air now?
Oh, what's on the air right now? Well, I just finished that thing with Eleanor Friedberger for a Segura Viudas, which is like a sparkling wine. Guessing that's internet only because it's booze. No, you can do wine. Can I do wine on TV? I don't know. I know it's on the internet now. I've been doing the all the Play-Doh commercials for the last few years. So I've finished one of those about a month ago. I'm working on a new one now. So that's running. What else is running right now?
The one that your kids thought that you suddenly became super cool in their eyes because you did that, the jingle.
Was that the Zoo Pals one?
I think it might have been. I remember you saying, now my kids think I'm cool, and they get to tell their friends at school that my dad wrote that. It might have been Zoo Pals.
It could have been Zoo Pals. It's one of those things like if you were under 8, about 2 or 3 years ago, you knew this song. And so, if you didn't fit in that demographic, you'd be like, I don't know what you're singing about, but it happened to connect well within that demographic, which is, I feel appreciated by that.
That's awesome. Well, I think you're being humble. I think there's like you said, there's 400, and I'm pretty sure if you've ever switched on a television in your life, you have heard Darren's music. I'm pretty much 100% sure about that. So next laser question for the aspiring commercial composer, specifically within the commercial realm. What's the 2-sentence version of what that formula is, and how do you sort of penetrate that with your artistic authenticity, so it's still something you want to do however many decades later?
Wow, oh man, if I could do that in 2 sentences, I would be. I think I've already used up one. That was the other one. So can I do a slightly longer answer?
Sure.
Okay. I think there's 2 elements to it. There's the musical element, and then there's the, what would you call it? Just the logistical element of it. And the logistical element is way more than people realize. So musically, there's a lot of people that are awesome composers, right? That are amazing musicians and producers, but not all those people would be the right call to write a commercial for Honda or something like that. And it isn't because they don't have the talent. It's because you're going to write that music and you're going to be so excited about that music, and it will kill. You will write something amazing that bass and the bass drum interact in a clever and compelling way that viscerally impacts you, and the people around you will dance, and your girlfriend and boyfriend will say it's amazing, and then the client will hear it while they're having a latte and have on their iPhone, and they're yelling at somebody, and they just don't even listen to it, and they kill it right there. So you'll write another one, and then that will be even better, and the melody is strong, and it's got interplay between the keyboard and the guitar that hasn't been done since the era of the Beatles, and they'll come back to you and say, yeah, we kind of like that one. It's not quite right, but if it could be a little bit more like a Katy Perry single mixed with Charles Mingus, and maybe be a little more blue and have the B section. And you're like, I just gave you gold. Like, I've given you something so amazing. And the answer to that request is yes, I will do that. And if you can't do that, then you're either not fit for this gig, or you're fit for a life of unhappiness, because that's what it's going to be. So you find that there's a certain personality type that I think does well in this business, which is somebody that has the talent, but also has, I like your cat, Chris, and someone that has the talent, but also has an ability to kind of let go of that. And you don't have to let go when it's your own art. I mean, hang on to your own stuff and do whatever you need to do. But when you're doing this music, you really need to take whatever direction you're given. And it's really, the right answer is always yes. I mean, I've had times where they've said something that I know is a bad idea, and I know it's going to make it worse. And the right way to deal with that is let's say they say bring in
bagpipes.
Something like, yeah, or well, that's so specific. That's a more challenging one. Like, say something like Rite of Spring Stravinsky, and it's a pharmaceutical commercial, and you're like, wow, that's never going to work. That you've just said the worst sentence that has ever been said in the English language, and I don't want to do that for you. But there is a right way to do that, which is listen to the Rite of Spring, and you go, you know what? There's some high woodwind writing that's kind of distinctive in there. What if I use a couple of high woodwind chords in my thing? So are you really blending Stravinsky with pharmaceutical music? No. But are you finding some way to kind of deal with what the client wants and make them feel like you've listened to them, and yet still make something that doesn't suck? Because high woodwinds will probably work in any genre. You can put some triads in there, and they may not sound like Stravinsky. In fact, Stravinsky would probably be really pissed if he knew what you were doing. But it doesn't matter. You do the high woodwinds, and you give them the audio, and you say, I listened to what you said. Something distinctive about Rite of Spring is some of the high woodwind chords in the middle. And so I put some of that in there, and they go, oh, wow, you really listen to me, and I like those woodwinds, and done. You've made them really happy. You've done the gig. You haven't been, well, technically the high woodwinds are in clusters, and those aren't going to, no one wants to hear that. I mean, do that on your own time, or go home at night, and whoever is in your apartment, like, share that energy with them, get that out if that's what you need to do. But you need to have a very yes attitude about this. And there's a bit of a, I'm going to say like a kind of a, as you become more of a rock star, whatever that means, your need to do that becomes less and less. So if I was, who's a good example? I don't know, if I was like Bryce Dessner from the National and they said, do a commercial, I probably can say, you know what, your idea about Stravinsky, I'm not going to do that. I have a great idea that comes from my heart. And they'll go, oh, Bryce Dessner from the National, will happily listen to that. If Darren Solomon from Cobble Hill, Brooklyn says, I don't think it's a good idea and I want to do something that's me, they're going to go, what? Didn't you hear what I just said? So I don't have that, rock star reputation at all in this business. So you one nice thing that you made that is kind of what we were talking about, is kind of in doing your own passion, you might be able to develop more of that, hey, this person's an artist. And that then all what I previously said about really being always yes and always somehow dealing with the client's wishes, you can have a little bit less of that because they kind of trust you a little bit more. And that's really independent of the value or quality of the music. I don't think rock stars write any better jingles or TV commercials than people that are professional jingle TV commercial writers, but they have a buzz about them and a certain faith that can inspire people. They inspire certain faith in people. So it's nice to develop that. I did a DJ gig recently for a fashion show, and it was the guy that gave me the gig was Madonna's choreographer, and I've worked with him before, and he sold me really beautifully and said, we've got this amazing music guy, and the way that my creative contributions were welcome there was so nice, and it was really because of that, because of the way that I came in as somebody that had this great recommendation and was sort of came in that way, rather than, oh, here's some dude that does music for a living for a bunch of different people and he's kind of a hack and he'll do whatever you need. So it can be either one is fine. Become the rock star and people trust you and that's amazing, or be somebody that just knows how to make people happy and take advice, whatever it is, and turn it into something good and heartfelt without compromising your work necessarily, and trying to honestly like make people happy that are the people that are paying you for music, which is, no matter what happens, it's amazing that people are paying us for music, and let's give them what they want, as long as we can do it without killing the art, killing the music, and do our best to make something good and that hopefully puts a little bit more good music out into the world that people would enjoy.
That's awesome. Darren, first of all, everyone that's listening, go check out Darren at nbflat.net and darrensolomon.com. I feel like we could talk for hours and hours and hours about this stuff, so we might have to have you back soon. But thank you so much for your time and for digging in and geeking out with us, and talking Stravinsky and Campbell's and everything in between.
That's the best conversations, always.
Stay tuned for next week when we talk to John Kellogg, a lawyer who knows everything you need to know about doing it right in the music industry. Please don't forget to rate and comment on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if you like this podcast. It's the best way to keep it going, get more subscribers, and continue to share this awesome information with the indie music community. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All of the music on this podcast has been created by yours truly. The theme song is called Inevitably, written with Cameron Ernst and produced by Joey Ock. You can find all the songs, plus more information on my music career at CherylBE.com. If you want to be one of the reasons I can keep this podcast and my blog Living on Gigging going, then head to patreon.com/CBEmusic. There, you can contribute $1, $2, $5 for the creation of each of these free musician resources. Together, we can keep them coming and inspire other creative people to do what they love and do it well. Again, that's patreon.com/CBEmusic. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their easy point-and-click editor. All the features you could possibly imagine for a professional website are built in. So because you are a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special 3-month free trial just for you. Go to www.inthekeyofsuccess.com/resources and click on the Bandzoogle logo to access your free extended trial.